Hi, this is Nicholas Hamilton, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, jumping to the film review. This week is my choice for A24 month. If you look at our group chat, I bounced around between a couple picks. I actually had a different movie picked until Dustin announced his next theme, so I audibled. But tonight we're going to be doing 2019 Saint Maud.
Please don't look at our group chat. Throwing that out there. Nobody ever needs to see that.
That's fair.
It's a great place. Come on.
Just in context of me changing my pick from what I had before this. Chose 2019 Saint Maud. I think this is a good movie. I think it's slow in a lot of the beginning for sure, but I think the ending is, ends, like a fireworks show. You're kind of like, it's kind of like a weak show, but then the ending is like bam, bam, bam. I enjoy the movie. I think Morfydd Clark, I think she does a great job as Maud. I'm a big fan of Rose Glass as well, the director. This is her directorial debut. Me and Dustin have both seen the movie Love Lies Bleeding. I think that's a really good movie as well. It's grown on me more and more as I've seen it. And she's on my director's list to draft whenever we do our drafts. So I think she's a great director. I think this is a good movie. It's not very rewatchable because it is very slow. It's a very heavy movie. But I do enjoy it, and I think it touches on a lot of big subjects that a lot of people can relate to. But I understand completely if the Brian Hathaways of the world do not like it.
Oh, nice segue into my introduction here. So after liking the last 4 A24 movies I've watched, I think, counting Mid-90s and Iron Claw, this one is definitely a return to form for me. And I know it's, kind of a running gag, like you just mentioned, where we generalize a lot, saying I don't like A24 movies and that Nico and Dustin love every one of them. They don't miss. Obviously, neither statement is true. I have found that a lot of these types of movies, Black Mirror as well, since we're doing that on the series show right now included, hinge a ton on that third act and a lot of times a twist. And sometimes, that twist hits and sometimes it doesn't. This one in particular did not hit for me. But even more than that, it was hard for this one to even keep my attention for the entire movie. I was very bored with it. Oh, Brian, you just don't get it. Okay, maybe. But nothing about it unnerved me, really, and the end didn't do anything for me either. Great performances. It was definitely a lot more of a character study, and I didn't hate it like I did Beau is Afraid, but I don't think it hit for me like it was meant to.
Okay. I don't hate it either, but unlike you, Brian, who playfully brushed it off, what the fuck was that movie about? Jesus Christ, man. I don't know what I watched. I don't understand. Mike doesn't get it, okay? I don't get it. I literally don't. Through half of the film, I'm like, all right, sure. There's some good stuff in here. There's good acting. I think the lighting and the atmosphere that the movie captures, I think it's very creepy and very well done. Music is good. Like, again, it has a good tone. It has the right tone that I look for in a horror movie, and I put that in my notes in the very beginning. And then it loses me. Like, I really like the character interactions with each other, and then I just think it takes a complete left turn that, like Nico mentioned, if the third act hits for you, then this is going to be a movie that you like. If it doesn't hit for you, you're going to be left scratching your head, which I'm still kind of scratching my head because I don't know what the fuck I watched. There are some good performances, but I can say, and as you guys know, I've fully come aboard the A24 train with you two. So it's not anything to do with A24. This one just didn't hit for me, guys, and I do apologize for that. I'd like to say all of them are good, but for me, this was a miss in totality. I found it boring and kind of self-indulgent, personally.
So I watched this movie on February the 20th of this year for the first time. It was the 16th A24 movie I'd ever watched and 6th since I started my journey. Fast forward, now I've watched all 163. Nico spoke highly of the movie, so I checked it out, and I didn't love it. Sorry, brother. It's not bad at all, but it moves at a snail's pace, which I despise in a movie. It's worth watching, though, and I'm glad you picked it, so I think everyone should watch it at least once. Now, I do want to address some things. So, Mike, you mentioned it, and I've seen a lot of people comment online about like not getting it or what the hell is this movie about. I have that issue a lot in movies that are trying to send a message that are being metaphors, just like what was the actual message? What were they doing? Under the Skin is one. Nope was one. And so it's not just A24 exclusive, but it's like this one, I get the message. To me, at least, it's about a girl who is kind of struggling to find her spot. She feels rejected by society, so she leans heavily into the Lord. And then you can interpret it one of two ways. Either she's dealing with some kind of possession and she's dealing with that, or the other way that I can interpret it is that she's spiraling into madness. Like she's going insane. None of the stuff that actually happened or that happened to her actually happened, like her levitating up the floor, the angel wings. Right. None of that happened. She's all imagining it. And so at the end, spoiler, sorry, we'll get to it. When she ignites herself, it's her wanting to be a martyr for the Lord because her psychosis has driven her to such an extreme. And then when you see her like harming herself, so Maud practices corporal. This is a fun fact I had, but I'll just go ahead and say it since we're talking about it. Maud practices corporal mortification to atone for her sins. That's an extreme and outdated method practiced by some Christians where they commit self-harm while praying. And so to me, I didn't struggle with this one, surprisingly, about like, what is this movie trying to say? I thought it was pretty clear cut. Like she was going crazy or she was possessed. Either way, it explains everything. And at the end, she wanted to be a martyr for the Lord.
So I really quick, fully acknowledging that you were absolutely right. Occasionally, I will fully admit I'm a big dum-dum and I need my hand held a little better than this movie did. That's all.
That's fine.
Yeah.
See, to me, this movie was about mental illness. And
that's kind of what I thought. But
I did write down, and I talk about this too throughout. I did write down that it could possibly be demonic possession or. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah. The reason I say that that's a possibility is because like the scene where she's levitating or the scenes with the angel wings, she's not looking in a mirror. She's not seeing that herself. We're seeing it as a viewer. And so that's why I'm like, okay, maybe that's what's happening with the levitation. Maybe she's possessed. But I lean definitely more towards this. She's struggling with mental illness. She's been ostracized to the point to where she has no one. She's going crazy. She loses her mind.
All righty. Y'all ready to get started?
Let's do it.
All right, bear with me. The first set of scenes would have had the most written down, but after that, I don't have that much. All right, the film starts with the best logo going, A24. I wrote that just for you, Brian. Yeah. We see a nurse, Katie, sitting in the corner, stoic, looking at a dead patient on the gurney with blood all over her and the floor. Title card and close-up shots of tomato soup cooking as now Maud closes her window to drown out all the racket outside. I've been watching a lot of Duck Dynasty. Uncle Si says racket, so shout out to Uncle Si. She sits down to eat in her small apartment, saying a quick prayer. She narrates her prayer about the pain she feels from menstruation and asking God of the plan of her life. There's got to be a bigger plan than this. Not that she'd complain, though. Maud makes it to her new patient's house, and the nurse there gives her the heads up of meds to give her, where her room is and tells Maud, "This new patient, she's a bit of a cunt." Maud examines her patient, Amanda. She has stage 4 lymphoma of the spinal cord. She doesn't expect her to live much longer. Maud prepares dinner and gives Amanda her B12 shot. Amanda is a dancer, choreographer, a minor celebrity. Maud bathes her and takes her to bed. Maud is helping Amanda with her stretches, and she compliments her necklace, asking who her saint is. Mary Magdalene. She says she's prettier than the last and begins texting. Maud looks around her bookcase and finds Amanda's posters from her time dancing. Maud leaves and gives a homeless man some spare change. May God bless you and never waste your pain, as she walks away. She goes to a diner wondering why Amanda would come to a town like this. It has no appeal. She gets a call and heads back to Amanda's. Richard apologizes for calling her back early. He kisses Amanda's forehead and leaves. Maud cleans up her vomit as Amanda says Richard used to try and fuck her all the time and has plugs now. Maud gets her a glass of water and Amanda asks her to stay with her. She doesn't want to be alone. She asks her how long she's been doing this and where she worked before. Have you seen a lot of death? Why'd you leave? She notices Maud is a new conversion to Roman Catholicism, asking if she hears his voice. Amanda says nothing feels real anymore since moving back here. Maud tells her there is more. He's everywhere. He sees you. He won't let you fall. They share a smile and hold hands. My little savior, she tells her. All right, Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Okay, and just peek behind the curtain. Mike just fell off and they lost power, so I'm not 100% sure that he's going to be back here. So if you're wondering where Mike went, he gone. But so with this being writer-director Rose Glass's first real full-length, decent budgeted flick, I haven't seen Love Lies Bleeding. But I do think that this movie is shot pretty well. I mean, my only complaint is how dark it is. But I did see how that was a style choice on purpose, so I get it. I just have old man eyes, I guess. There are definitely some shot choices throughout, though, that I really took notice of. So for her first movie, she did a really good job, directing and writing wise, in my opinion. Pretty much can tell right off the rip with just that little shot in the open with Maud in the corner that, okay, it's going to be one of those movies where we get bits and pieces and then eventually it all comes together. Did Maud kill this lady on purpose, et cetera? But it doesn't really answer all of those questions throughout upon further review. It definitely still makes it feel ambiguous for the most part. I have just some simple logistic questions here. Like, if this is a hospital, where is everyone else? Is this kind of like some backdoor hospital where they work on Jack Nicholson as the Joker? Or maybe it's a stylistic choice where the table, the old lady, the blood, and the bug are the only thing you can see because that's the only thing Maud is focused on because, let's face it, this chick is a little crazy. But we never really find out any other details, so I don't know. And as it's been mentioned already, and again, I fully agree with Clark and Elle are fantastic as Maud and Amanda. I haven't seen Crawl or Pride and Prejudice Zombies, so it's my first introduction to, is it Morfid? Morfid? Is that her last name? Anyway, Morfid and Morbius. And I have no complaints. I mean, she can definitely act, hence why she keeps getting worked. Now, I have seen Jennifer Elle in Zero Dark 30, but that's been more than a decade ago. And again, she absolutely kills it here as well. What else do we have in this set of scenes? Okay, we're introduced by the nurse the same way that we actually introduced Dustin to friends. Keep him off the sauce, bit of a cunt. I kid. The scene with Amanda, though, in the bath, like, I love the shot where it's almost hidden behind the curtain. Very interesting stylistic choice there from Rose. Some foreshadowing for sure with the lighter. Is it maybe sometimes going a little too try hard for that artsy aspect? I don't know. I've seen that online, but I don't really think so. It didn't really stand out to me in any negative light as far as the way that she shot it. And I have seen complaints about that. I do love the way Jennifer plays Amanda. I mean, there's a lot of layers there. You can tell it's really hard for Amanda to accept that she's dying, that things are over for her. Here, when Maud is going through the posters in the closet, the first one has 666 on it. In Futura bold font, by the way. But some foreshadowing there in a way. And, I think when the camera focuses on her sparking up that lighter, that's some foreshadowing there as well. All in all, decent open, some character development, especially on Amanda. I did immediately start questioning Maud when she started describing the feeling of God as, basically an orgasm. I thought, yeah, probably not. So are we dealing with a false God here? Demonic presence like we talked about? We don't know anything just yet.
Yeah, really creepy and ominous score to open. Hell yeah. Love that. Then an immediate disturbing image with hair dripping blood and a woman, staring with a blank expression. Decent start. Now tell us how we got here. Unfortunately, it takes the scenic route to tell the story. Movie is slow for the next 80 minutes or so, but it's not bad. And then how is she? A bit of a cunt. That made me laugh. Love that. I also laughed when Amanda lit up another cig as soon as Maude took the one away. That was funny. Some really good editing and framing of shots when transitioning. Definitely appreciate the quality and the filmmaking in this one. Like I said, this one's a slow build, but I'm seeing it through.
Maude leaves the room, seeing the lights flicker. She heads up the stairs slowly, touching the walls, having an experience. She falls to the floor and begins touching her face until she opens her eyes and we see a crucifix. More narration from Maude as we see her doing more stretching, pouring out liquor, and applying makeup and perfume to herself. Maude has another moment of ecstasy while doing dishes until she hears a knock at the door. Carol lets herself inside to Maude's disdain. Maude sees blood in the water as she washes her face, hearing the two women laugh. Next morning, she sees Carol leaving the house counting a lot of money. Maude brings Amanda food and they both pray over it. She thanks the Lord for bringing them together and asks him to bless her body and mind. Maude begins to choke up as Amanda asks if God is here, and she says she feels it too. Montage of more stretching as Maude lets out a moan as Amanda holds her hand. Maude helps Amanda get dressed and dolled up, complimenting her looks. Maude looks through a book and begins to pray until Carol scares her on the phone. The bottle of wine explodes everywhere and Maude cleans it up. Maude looks disgusted at hearing Amanda call for Carol to come back to her. Maude spies on the two women in the bedroom. Next morning, Maude stops Carol to talk. She wants her to stop seeing Amanda. Carol says Amanda's sex life and her giving her money is none of her business. Maude doesn't think Carol cares enough, and she wants her to stay away in her last days. She doesn't want her to tell her what they talked about, and Carol leaves the kitchen. Maude is happy the phone hasn't rang all day. All they need is each other. All right, Brian, the next set of scenes. What do you think?
Well, we open here with an orgasm on the stairs. Probably the first time I went, what the fuck are we doing here? Admittedly, though, a fantastic soundtrack, especially during the intense moments like that. Adam Janota Wazowski, Mike Wazowski. Sorry, Tourette's kicked in there. But Adam has done a ton in the genre, including an episode of Black Mirror called Lock Henry, which I didn't pick the series on the series show this go around, but I did quite enjoy that one personally. I think the soundtrack is the strength of this entire movie. I do think that's fantastic. When Maude kneels to pray, dropping those things and kneeling on them really is the first time you see, and I don't know how consistent it is with Catholicism or anything, but Dustin brought it up. Like, I know that there's always been that history of people sometimes, you put it a little bit better than I did, feeling like they need to physically punish themselves when praying, almost as one's like willingness to endure pain to prioritize worship. And we definitely see that many more times throughout here. I think that's definitely what's going on with her in that. Is Rose trying to maybe show us some of the extreme, almost absurdities of organized religion throughout? I don't really know, to be honest. I think that's maybe up for interpretation. I may be wrong on that. But we do go from that to, bam, like almost another orgasm while washing dishes. But this time we get the almost cartoonish distortion of the face that definitely caught my attention. I mean, I wrote it here again. Like, are we dealing with possession? Is that what's going on? I mean, at this point. And well, truthfully, I guess that's never really answered. And we discussed that a little bit earlier. But we also get another aspect here with Carol, which, by the way, I mean, come on, have some tact here. Don't count your pay for play money while you're still in the house. I mean, everyone knows you wait, at least you get outside. But Maude getting pretty obviously jealous. But again, you don't know if it's like a protection thing or a sexual attraction thing or both, honestly, at this point. But it's definitely another layer added and really emphasized real shortly thereafter on the couch while they both pretty obviously have another orgasm together, showing flashes of the touching during the physical therapy sessions. And I know Amanda said she faked it later on, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a guy and can't tell the difference, but I'm not really buying that. She looked like she was enjoying it. But then again, when she notices Maude watching her and Carol, Amanda covers up. So I don't know. I really don't know there. Also with the scars on Maude's stomach, did she lose a child? I mean, that's something, again, that we don't ever really find out. But with the way that she falls back into her old ways, like whoring ways, basically, she later on, I mean, maybe it was a child. I'm not going to lie. I mean, at this point in the movie, it was dragging even on the first watch.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like, and you guys mentioned, I think Nico even mentioned it, that this has much rewatchability, if any, in my opinion, to me. I do think that Rose is definitely making a statement, though, on organized religion. I mean, furthered by this scene with Robert Blake book and Maud even speaking the words in an almost meta fashion there as well.
Yeah, so we get some freaky deaky shit going on when Maud orgasmed in the step or on the steps. The hell was that about?
Yeah.
It all happened so fast, and then we cut to her praying. Interesting. Shawty, I don't think that's the Lord in you, like you were saying earlier. I think you're possessed. And then it happens again while she's doing dishes. But also, I imagine that's how men envisioned women felt doing household chores back in the day. Like nothing gave them more joy. So maybe that's something there. And it just keeps happening. Like, just further proof that the female orgasm is the work of the devil. Other than the random sexual outburst by Maud, this is just such a really slow set of scenes that don't really progress anything except for my anticipation for something to happen.
Dustin, what's wrong with you?
We're
How much
sorry
time you
to
got?
all female listeners.
How much time you got, brother?
See, the crazy thing is that I think we have more female listeners than guys. All right,
But-
anywho,
I say it with all due respect and love.
you did say you're a parody account.
Yeah, I'm a parody account.
All right, Maud is walking through town and a woman calls her by Katie. She stops her and hugs her. She fires up a smoke and they talk about nurse work. Joy is surprised she's still doing nurse work and gives her phone number in case she ever wants to talk or go get a drink. Amanda gets a phone call and sends Maud away to get her some tea. She hears Amanda getting angry on the call. She brings the tea into the room, suggesting they go out sometime to the theater, perhaps. Amanda is not in a good mood and wants to go to bed, and she does not care if it's 5 o'clock. Maud bays her, and we see her sitting on the couch now, acting paranoid. She burns herself on the stove. Next morning, she's getting her breakfast as Amanda is texting away, laughing on the phone. She asks Maud to go into town for things for tonight. That night, Maud looks miserable as a big party ensues. Maud looks extra miserable as Carol enters the kitchen. Hillary and Maud take the cake out and sing happy birthday. Maud hears Amanda talking about her trying to run Carol away, wanting to be her savior, saying she got carried away. Maud doesn't think she's indecent. She's just lost. Maud is distraught and tries to walk away, but Amanda stops her, saying not to take her too seriously. Lighten up. Have some fun. Maud slaps Amanda when she mocks her religion. She's pulled away, almost vomiting. Maud is talking to a worker, asking if she can talk to Amanda, but the worker laughs, saying, "You should be grateful she didn't even press charges." Maud is back at her apartment. She's praying to God about the pain she's feeling again and not being able to see his plans for her. She's at the beach, and we hear her questioning her faith in God's wisdom. She's furious seeing Amanda with someone at the beach and stops picking at the wound on her hand when the cross wrapped in a towel falls from the desk. All right, Brian, it's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
We do get at least a little bit more glimpse into Maud's past life when she's stopped by Joy on the street, or I guess Katie, I should say. But that's really all we get until later. And honestly, it's not even that much more to piece together. I wish we would have gotten a little bit more on that. I know that Rose, the director, said that she had a little bit more of a backstory, but was worried that it would be compared to Carrie. But still, like the way she left it, it was just, I don't know, I needed a bit more on that. We get the first instance of the cyclone tornado thing here as she pours the water down the sink. I think at first that call Amanda gets, and I guess Katie Maud did as well. I'm going to start calling her Katie Maud. Thought it was Carol breaking up with her, but maybe that's where she told Amanda what Katie Maud told her, and that cyclone maybe is because it's kind of the start of that whole spiraling out of control that we get more and more really starting coming up here, because right after this is where she burns herself, which again, I'm assuming is to physically punish herself for her sins. And then at this party, when she loses her shit and swings on Amanda, is where things really start to spiral out of control for her, like that cyclone. But also, this is pretty much where I realized in the movie that, wow, there are no characters that I like in this movie. Like even the old nurse Joy sucked because she even admitted that they all knew that she was having mental issues and ignored it. Everyone sucks in this movie. Anyway, but this is where I mentioned in my open that I really liked how Rose started shooting this aspect here with the upside down angles on Katie Maud and the quick cuts and that soundtrack. You can really feel that chaos that Rose wanted you to experience with her as she spirals out of control.
So, shocker, Maud's plan to keep Carol away from Amanda wasn't well received. She didn't have to burn herself, though. Like, that seems a bit dramatic. Women are always so dramatic. Amanda has better friends than I do, though. My birthday was Monday, and I didn't get a single piece of cake, and I had about a quarter of many people show up to come hang out with me. I know where I stand. Well, I'm kidding. I had several friends that were out of town on vacation, but they could have rescheduled their vacations if they really loved me. And Maud really knows how to ruin a shindig. Slapping a dying woman at her own party? Geez Louise, lady. And it's quite the depressing little shithole that Maud goes back to. That's effective set design to make us feel even more disturbed by her. Like, I understand why she's going crazy. And then old girl knows how to throw a self-pity party, self-mutilation, and then bemoaning how God is treating her. Get it together. But the crucifix falling off the dresser, that reminds me of the story that I've told about the Exorcism of Emily Rose DVD. And I'll tell it again in case you missed it. So I bought that movie on DVD when it first came out. This is back before every TV was a flat screen. We had the fatback TV, the box TV. Set the DVD case on top of it, not near the edge. No one was around. I was the only one in the room. I turned to walk out of the room. The DVD falls off of the TV. I immediately got rid of that DVD. Fuck that shit. But the movie's picking up somewhat here, so we'll see.
Maud is out on the town and gets a beer at the local pub. She's given a handy and Buddy splooges with no warning. She casually goes back to her table and beer. She's jealous, seeing groups of friends nearby her, realizing how lonely she is. Now she's taking shots at the bar and calls Joy if she'd like to have a drink and chat. Maud hangs up, feeling stupid, realizing the offer from Joy is most likely fake. Paranoia kicks in and she freaks out, seeing a whirlpool in her beer. She bumps into a fellow, spilling his beer, and now she's on top of him, riding him, until she panics, seeing the patient she killed with CPR. He consoles her and has her lie down on her side. She says no, but he continues, sexually assaulting her, as she lays there stoic. He lights up a cigarette, saying he knows her. He says she and his friend Tommy had it off, and she storms away. She makes it back to her apartment and immediately drinks from the faucet. She sits at her table and cries out to God to not let her fall again and to guide me. She begins to cry and breathe heavy. She throws up violently as fireworks begin going off outside. I know Dustin loved the fireworks. She falls to the floor, convulsing and screaming. She sees the beetle in the ceiling from her patient's room. She begins levitating in her room now. Next morning, she's cleaning up her apartment and showering. She makes a spug nut and puts it in her shoe for punishment to herself. She wears the shoe, suffering through her walk in town. She's back home researching on Amanda Cole. Maud feels like she was called upon by Amanda, reliving moments with her flicking a lighter repeatedly. All right, Brian, so next set of scenes, what'd you think?
This set of scenes. Now it's 8:24. Maud, damn, dude, Maud can party, can't she? She fucking goes hard when she goes out. And, I mean, she just glanced at that dude, and then next cut, Nico said he splooged. Wow. There's that obligatory 8:24 jack-off scene. I mean, like, for real. What was the point of that? Now, it was interesting to see her almost like she was some robot at the bar afterwards trying to watch other humans with, I don't know, the quick flashes and the ASMR stuff. At first, it was hard to tell if she was just drunk. But then again, we get those tornadoes in the drinks, more so this time as she's really spiraling out of control here even more. But then the sex scene was, I mean, that was at least interesting because of the flashbacks and then her hallucinating, caving the guy's chest in. Like, is that what happened with that old lady? Because if so, how is that some dramatic thing? They made it seem like she freaked out and murdered the lady, but it seems like some accident if that's what really happened. Like, what am I missing? And then what was the point of the rape that followed with the dude wanting to finish? And even though she said no, like, damn, Rose. I'm just going to give Rose benefit of the doubt and say A24 was like, oh, you are not getting this movie made without a jack-off scene, and we're going to need something like rape. So there we go. Another one of those sideways shots as she leaves that dude's flat. I mean, you can tell she's really spiraling now. I mean, when she goes home and then prays and then asks to please not let God let you fall again. You just got plastered, jacked off some stranger in the bar, and then whatever that was with the other guy, I'd say, yeah, you slipped a little bit on the God front. But, I mean, I think this is where Rose really lets you know that this is in her head and that she's got some schizo or demonic possession stuff going on, because I guess it's up for interpretation, but I think it's all in her head. I think it's a mental breakdown. I don't think it's demonic possession really happening.
Yeah. Maud had one bad shift at work and lost all religion. Real as fuck. Although nothing could happen to me at work that would drive me to give a fella a handy dandy. I just hit the bottle a little extra, which she does. And I've definitely got the spins from drinking too much, but it's usually my head that's spinning, not the alcohol itself. That was wild. I love the shot as she's leaving the fat fuck's fella's place. The camera is sideways. It's a really good way of showing how unstable things are for her. We got it earlier, too, with the upside down shots. I'm a fan. I like that. Some really disgusting looking vomit shots follow, though. Not a fan. Yuck. But when she levitated, things are getting crazy. I hate that it slows way down again, though, after. We have 30 minutes left, and it goes by so slowly for the most part.
Yes.
The score and narration help some, though, when she's making an art project out of Amanda's book. But honestly, I'm ready for the finish already.
Maud is back at the beach and sits on a bench. Maud asks a woman.
I was going to say, so was that guy by the bathrooms. He was really ready for that finish.
He ain't got no whiskey dick. All right, Maud is back at the beach and sits on a bench. Maud asks a woman about working at St. Aphras and tells her she respects anyone who works in the medical field. The woman says she does have a life outside of work. She has choir practice. She tells Maud building relationships is one of her favorite things about the job. She doesn't think she'll be with this patient much longer. She tells Maud her name is Esther, asking for hers, but Maud has already stormed away. Maud is in a corner of her apartment questioning everything. A giant beetle crawls out of the sink into her desk, creating an aura of energy. She heard a man's voice speaking Welsh to her. Maud asks, "How will I know what to do?" She continues looking at the picture and lies back in bed. Next morning, she takes a sheet from her bed, making it into a robe, and prays into the mirror. She washes her face until she hears a knock at the door. Joy stops by unexpectedly on the way to work, shocked by the apartment Maud lives in. Joy continues looking around and asking questions, but Maud isn't answering her. She tells Maud what happened before wasn't her fault and asks if she knows that too. "What's going on? You can tell me." Maud looks into the clouds and sees them whirlpool like the beer as Joy continues talking. Maud walks to her, holds her face, and kisses her cheek. "May the Lord bless and keep you, Joy." She tells her not to worry. "Back then I was lost, but now I'm transformed and soon everyone will see. Thank you for coming, Joy," and she lets her out. Joy says she's going to come back later tonight if that's all right. Brian, what do you think of that set of scenes? And the next set is the ending.
This set of scenes at her in the apartment in the middle of the night with the voice talking to her in Welsh is definitely one of the very dark shots I was talking about. And I mean dark as in I couldn't see shit. Definitely the most memorable part of the set of scenes, though. I mean, again, is it talking about organized religion again, saying extremists always think they're doing the right thing in their own heads? I don't know. Is it speaking to mental health? I guess you can really take it however you want. I went with the latter. I don't need Joy showing back up, though. I guess it's just to show how far gone she really is by basically ignoring her the whole time. But it could have been cut to me. I mean, the only thing that adds to shedding any light on her past is that they were aware of her spiraling at the hospital and didn't do shit. But other than that, I mean, still didn't add anything to me. I really think it didn't serve anything, in my opinion, anyway. Soundtrack was great, but that was about it, in my opinion. I'm definitely spiraling at this point, like those clouds, wanting to get to the end here.
I'm gonna keep it on. I'm gonna keep it real with you, Chief. I don't have much on either of these last two sets of scenes. I think this is the least I had on any of them. I don't like the scene where she hears "quote unquote" God speaking. That's creepy as hell. Something about it being in Welsh just made it eerie. I don't think that's God, girl. I don't like it. Yeah. The chick that shows up at her apartment. Look, she deserves whatever happens to her. Like, I was expecting Maud to kill her. But she deserves it. Like, she can't pick up on the obvious clues that Maud doesn't want you here. And that's after she said, "You ain't half tidy, are you?" Bitch, you came over unannounced. If the place isn't spotless, mind your business. I was hoping she'd get killed so we'd have some action, but, on to the finale.
Yep, here we go. That night, Maud goes to Amanda's house. She goes into her room and embraces her face, and Amanda does the same. "I'm so sorry I was unkind to you. You made me think of things I didn't want to." Maud says it's okay. The Lord knows your heart. God has sent me to you. Amanda pushes her away when she puts holy water on her face, calling it nonsense. "You must be the loneliest girl I've ever seen," she tells Maud. She tells her to snap out of it. "God's not real. You must know that." Amanda tells her she didn't feel God that time. "You have no idea how dull it is to be dying." It's just you and me here. Maud begins to weep, and Amanda laughs, saying, "That was easy." A demonic face appears, and Maud breaks a glass vase over her face. She launches Maud into the wall. Amanda says, "You are here because you are alone. If God was enough, you wouldn't be here," she says in a menacing voice. Maud snaps and stabs Amanda to death with scissors. Maud leaves the house, laughing with hands elevated. She's at home, washing the blood off her face. Maud puts the robe and rosary on and walks onto the beach. The clouds open up like the whirlpool as Maud hears someone singing, "I Saw the Light." She looks around and takes the bottle of acetone out the bag and drenches herself in it. A crowd of onlookers form, yelling someone to stop her. She speaks in Welsh and the lighter ignites, and she forms wings and radiates energy. The onlookers fall to their knees in awe until the film cuts to reality, and she's ablaze, burning to death. The film ends with a menacing score and title card, Saint Maud. All right, Brian, what'd you think about the ending?
The ending was definitely something. I mean, her killing Amanda, I never looked at that whole thing as literal where she was a demon. I think that as soon as Amanda insulted her and shunned her once again and shattered that idea of her that Maud had in her head, that she saw as demonic at that point. Maybe I'm wrong in my interpretation, but I think that's kind of hammered home at the end on the beach when it shows you the angelic form that she sees, and then in reality at the very end. Again, all up for interpretation. But so I definitely look at this movie like I do. And this may seem like a weird comparison, but bear with me. Like I do the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix. We get to sit there and just watch someone with what I feel is mental health issues battle with that and eventually do something drastic. And, there's nothing against this movie for doing that. People love Joker as well. I just watch movies to be entertained and to escape that reality, into a story. And movies like that, I just feel like I could see on the news like any day. It just doesn't really do anything for me, if that makes any sense.
Okay. Decent tension when Maud goes to Amanda's. Like, Maud is unstable, and Amanda is shitting on her beliefs. And then, boom, possessed Amanda. Or so we think. Bitch is just off a rocker and hallucinated it, most likely. Especially since she had glowing wings after murdering a cancer patient. No way she's really a saint. She's a psycho and or possessed. Then she turned herself into the Human Torch on the beach. All right. And the way she was frozen and she was smiling with angel wings, that had to be what Joan of Arc looked like in her mind when they fried her ass back in the day. The finish of this movie was just much better than everything that preceded it.
All right, guys, let's jump into our social media comments and questions. Zach, I'm going to do Instagram first. Zach R. Wood commented, love the A24 pics just for the differing opinions you guys give out with a laughing emoji. Gotta watch this a second time, but there's a jump scare in the movie that scared the living shit out of me. Danny Cnaps commented, this movie was really cool. I like a slow burn character study, which is what this felt like in most scenes. The all capital letters. The shoe scene, though, oh my God, the sound design had me squirming with the squirming emoji, saying that looks horrible. It's kind of crazy that people actually did that, too. And the last comment we got is from DM Frank _. And this is a quote. This movie inspired me. I may stick to my gimmick on the show, but I wanted to let you know my true feelings here, in all capital letters, cinema. Brian Hathaway, Esquire.
Wow, thanks, Brian. That's cool, man.
That's weird.
That's what you texted me the other day. You may not remember it, but all right. I'll do X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Randy Smith, Go Dog, said, "Oh yay, I can't wait," with a gif of Kirby Smart doing like a "oh fuck" face. That was funny. Then the next two directly, tie in with what I was talking about with Mike earlier. So these comments are talking about not getting the film. One is from Andrew Ferguson, who said this movie made about as much sense to me as tits on a turtle. Eloquently put.
Nice.
Okay. And then that guy at Millhouse14108, he put quite a bit, and I haven't read it yet, so he's usually good for some good one-liners in here. Let's see what he's got. He said, right after my first viewing, I couldn't make sense of this movie, but when a good movie sticks with you and makes you think really deep? That shit didn't fucking happen here. The fuck, Nico? Dropping a depressing psychodrama upon us is downright impolite, brother. My wife looked at me after this and said I owe her 3 rom-coms for this one. I vote you have to watch I vote you have to watch the movies my wife chooses as penalty. Seriously. The runtime was great, but could have been less. Was she possessed, obsessed, or crazy? The movie didn't explain enough and moved very slow. And what was up with the random scene of Maude squeezing out some knuckle babies in the corner of a restaurant? There it is.
There we go.
And why doesn't that shit happen to me? With a laughing emoji. Had one good jump scare when Amanda snarled at Maude toward the end. But other than that, this movie was lost on me. I love the show, and hopefully I'll get some clarity from the review. 3 out of 10 for me. Appreciate the comments, guys.
You know, old Millhouse has got some good one-liners.
Hey, and I'll say this, Millhouse. You're talking about your wife making you watch rom-coms. You better hope she doesn't listen to the show when you're talking about why doesn't that shit happen to me. Come on, pal.
He meant by his wife. He meant by his wife.
Okay. That makes sense.
Hey, what's wrong with rom-coms? I like rom-coms, too.
I just threw, you know what? A24 month. I'll say it here. I sent this in the group chat earlier. Everyone go watch the movie Laggies. It's got Sam Rockwell, who I love. It's got Keira Knightley, who I love. It's got Chloe Grace Moretz. I may have said her name backwards. I do that with her and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. But anyway, it's got those 3 in it. It's called Laggies. Rom-com. Beautiful. Cute movie.
Nice little plug. We got anything on the Book of Faces?
Nothing.
Y'all got any fun facts?
Rose Glass originally wrote Maude with, like we talked about, a little bit more explicit backstory, but removed most of it in the final draft as she found it's too similar to Carrie from 1976, saying in early drafts, the character's backstory was quite different. She had this very extreme religious upbringing, went to Catholic school, all that stuff, but it just really felt like a story I'd seen before, and it wasn't one I particularly was interested in retelling.
So I said one earlier off rip when I talked about the self-mutilation, but I'll add to that. If you want some more specific examples of that, the Da Vinci Code talks about it, the self-mutilation when praying. Yeah. So does Carrie. The other ones I've got, this one I know Brian's going to appreciate. He's the aspect ratio king. This movie was originally shot in the taller than normal 1.66 to 1 aspect ratio, as Rose Glass wanted more space and headroom above the characters. It was reframed in post-production to widescreen 2.39 to 1, with a few shots extended horizontally with VFX. And then the last one that I've got is that Rose Glass, she also, like Nico mentioned, directed Love Lies Bleeding, which starred Kristen Stewart. Stewart was in K-11 with Tiny Lister, who was in the DMX movie Never Die Alone with David Arquette.
Boom. That just happened. Do one of y'all want to read off the budget and Mike's rating? Then we'll just jump into our favorite kill, least favorite kill in the rating.
I've got it pulled up already, so I'll do that. He said, like I said in my opening thoughts, I didn't really get the movie. I do now that Brother Dustin explained so eloquently. Some highlights are the characters of Maude and Amanda. I do think both are interesting. I even like the aesthetic of the house and the music seeming like early 1900s. But the movie taking place in modern day. Early 1900s, but the movie taking place in modern day. But that's really about it for me. I just thought it was slow and dragged until the third act, where I have a really hard time telling what's real and what isn't. She also fucks a fat guy, maybe. Anyways, rare A24 miss for me. He typed all those R's. I did not add that. I give the film a 4. Side note, bring the word cunt back in film. That's real cinema. Shout out to Amanda. And then for the budget, this movie had a budget of $2.5 million and it grossed $1.4 million. So it took a loss, but I think that's all marketing because I'd never heard of this movie till Nico pointed it out. All right, so I do have favorite kills. Mike didn't add any, but favorite kill, I mean, there's only like 2, right? But favorite kill was Maude. She was clearly unstable and possessed, probably. She needed to go. Least favorite kill was Amanda. We're supposed to be an example for non-believers and show them compassion and pray for them, give them love, not stab them in the neck with scissors. As far as my final thoughts and the rating, it's one of those movies where I'll praise its original concept and how well it's made. Definitely want to do that. But I didn't love the finished product. It's so slow and it feels so much longer than the 84-minute runtime. I really wanted to like this movie, but I have it at a 6.
6 is not disliking it, I don't think. I think that's pretty decent.
Compared to some of the, like in my A24 grand scheme of things, all the movies I've watched, 6 is pretty low. They don't miss.
All right, I'll go next. Favorite kill, I'm going to go with Maude as well. I think I remember the first one watched this movie was like, man, this movie's just it's okay. Like I agree. Like the first one I watched, like this is slow, but I was invested just because I like her portrayal. But like the ending, like watching her like light herself on fire, the beautiful visuals, then it cuts to her immediately on fire. I thought it caught my attention big time. Least favorite kill, I'm gonna go with the CPR patient who got killed. They did show it technically, so I'll go with that. I agree 100% with you guys. This movie, I enjoy the movie. I mean, I like the movie. I won't say I enjoy them. It's not an enjoyable movie. I do like the movie. I think it's well made, well shot, very, very well acted. It looks great. Rose Glass is someone I think me and Dustin will both agree we're going to keep our eyes out for Rose Glass. She's a great director.
Yeah, for sure.
Morphy Clark gives a great performance. I don't know, maybe it's just the stage in my life I'm in right now, but like I kind of felt where Ma was coming from. Was like, what is the purpose for my life right now? Like, what is the next move? What is the direction? I felt that.
Nico's about to turn into a Swiftie. He's about to have a finding himself era.
No, hell no. That's Mike. Mike's the only Swiftie on this show, brothers. Respectfully. But no, I mean, I get where Ma's coming from. You know, I think it's a great portrayal of she's dealing with trauma. She's dealing with loneliness. She's dealing with her place in the world. She's going to religion. Does she have, lesbian tendencies to Amanda? I don't know. Like all that's up for interpretation. I think it's a great portrayal by Morphy Clark, but I agree 100% with you guys. The movie is slow. And I'm the most favorable of the movie, but you do feel the runtime, and the runtime is only 84 minutes, and
84.
It's not a good thing if you feel an 84-minute runtime. It does get really slow in the middle, but I still gave the movie a 7 just because I do enjoy it.
Okay, I actually liked Amanda's kill the best. I just felt like it showed more. I didn't really put a least favorite kill.
It's very good. I like that kill too.
Yeah, I didn't put a least favorite kill.
It's not very Christian-like to kill her though. If you're trying to be a saint, that's why I didn't like it.
Yeah, that's fair. The score is very good. The character is very well done. You mentioned it. The acting was very, very well done. I've been pretty vocal with my issues with it. I did not hate it, though. I mean, I gave Beau is Afraid a 2. I think I'm actually going to give this one a 5.
Okay.
I'll take that. I thought you were going to put a 3.
So that gives us a composite score of a 5.5. IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, has this movie at a 6.7, so right in between Nico and my score. But Rotten Tomatoes, certified fresh, brother, 92%.
Hell yeah. They see the vision. You guys got any final thoughts for to shout out our blood donors? And Dustin, you can shout out your pick for next week as we close out A24 month.
Yeah.
I bet you Brian's over there thinking, thank God we're almost done with this shit.
Well, I've only not liked one of these movies, so I mean that's not
I figure with
the
Ex
worst
Machina
month it could have been.
Yeah, I figure with Ex Machina and Maxine, you'd be happy. All right, let's shout out our blood donors. Legendary blood donor Dana Tucker, 3-time. We appreciate you, Dana. You're a big supporter. Camper level reoccurring Nina, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Alex Seligson, Michael Evans, Steve Schmidt, and Michelle Mirza. Camp counselor reoccurring Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Thorne David Phillips, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davis from the Too Close to Home pod, Dana Tucker, and Cole McAlexander. We really appreciate y'all. It means a lot. You do take a big burden off of us. None of that money goes into our pockets, I promise. It just goes right back into the podcast, paying for our website, what we record on, all that good stuff. So we appreciate the help. Dustin, you want to announce your pick as we conclude A24 month?
Yeah, so, when I was doing my A24 watch through, I was privileged enough to watch a lot of movies I'd never even heard of. One of them is from 2014, and it's called The Captive. The cast is phenomenal. Ryan Reynolds, Scott Speedman, Rosario Dawson, and the star, in my opinion, of Abigail from 2024, Kevin Durand. So I thought this movie, look, it's a story that we've all seen told before, so it's not that groundbreaking there. But I picked this movie because Ryan Reynolds, we all love him. We all think he's funny and charming. But he acted his ass off in every single scene in this movie. And I don't think people talk about it enough because I'd never even heard of it. So I want to do The Captive.
I feel like Ryan Reynolds catches a lot of hate online too.
It's crazy.
I've seen people say like he's got like the worst filmography out there. Like, what are y'all talking about?
That's people who have clearly never watched the Deadpool movies, aka you. But
but I'm not saying that though.
That's an incredible.
Look, The proposal's
filmography.
fucking great. And that was
Sandra
the one with
Bullock.
Sandra
Mhm.
Bullock in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
I
Just
think,
Friends?
I think
Just Friends is
just
a great. Oh, come on.
I thought he was
fucking
good.
weird seeing him fat, man. It's such a weird. That's
funny.
the only thing I can remember.
I thought he was good in Amityville Horror remake.
I thought
Oh,
he was
yeah,
good in
absolutely.
Van Wilder. He was great in Van Wilder. What are we talking about?
Man, Wilder's like one of my favorite movies ever.
Dude, I love the Van Wilder movies. I've never eaten a Twinkie since then. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, we appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week. Y'all have a good one.
Just want to remind everybody